Welcome to my world. Another day, another time, another period for knowledge acquisition. Knowledge is power, health is wealth. Today's topic is syphilis and age problems, or called syphilis and age complications. You find that syphilis is as old as whatever you want to call sexually transmitted disease, STDs. But funny enough, it can easily be destroyed by mere dryness or application of chemicals or even temperature. It can withstand any temperature beyond 42 degrees centigrade, and so it is only transmitted through sexual intercourse. And this is where the problem lies, that it's a thing remaining a mystery, because with just penicillin treatment it could be eradicated, but you find it surviving. And what is the secret? It has the latent side of it, that is showing, being there and not showing any symptoms. We call that asymptomatic. So it's now live up to age 30, 40 with people living in them, from when it now starts the chronic problems, the chronic infection. So we shall take on this in the slide section and have a clearer understanding of the three phases of syphilis: the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary. The tertiary is the chronic stage. So if you like my presentation, please press the like button, subscribe, and you will encourage more quality production. Let's go on to the slides. Their objective: to create the awareness of congenital syphilis in children, the primary, secondary, and tertiary stages in adults that can permanently damage the heart, muscles, brain, nerves, bones, and eyes. The introduction. Syphilis is the name of the disease caused by a bacterium, a spirochete, Treponema pallidum. It can survive outside, and it is transmitted by personal contact, sexual intercourse. It is one of the classical sexually transmitted diseases. It remains, however, a mystifying infection characterized by several stages with dramatical clinical presentation. Stage 1 is the primary syphilis, acute. Stage 2, secondary syphilis, also called subacute, while the third stage is a tertiary syphilis, and it's a chronic which comes out after many years' duration. Syphilis may be transmitted from an infected mother to a fetus, and that is called congenital syphilis. This congenital syphilis usually is treated once the mother is tested and found to be positive for the serological test done. But at times, that may be omitted or not done, and the child will be born with this syphilis. Syphilis leads to blindness, dementia, delirium, and deaths if not treated immediately or adequately. Even though syphilis can be treated with penicillin, about 36.4 million new cases occur annually in China, according to our research, which is well documented. Older age group, that is those on 45 years, had the fastest growth in incidence, and male age 60 years display a peak incidence of latent syphilis in the last 5 decades, which means they've been carrying it probably from that period, because the latent syphilis is usually the chronic, becoming chronic after so many years, 15 to 30 years. Let's use a case study to understand it more. Mr. B, a 24-year-old homosexual, came to the clinic with fever, swollen limbs, nodes, and spotty discoloration of the skin of the palm of his hand and the sole of his feet. As you can see, the palm display for us to understand this presentation. He had recently noted a penny-sized gray translucent lesion on the inner aspect of his lower lips. The physician recognized the macular rash on the palm, just like as earlier shown, and the sole and the lesion on his lips as characteristic of secondary syphilis. Mr. B reported that he engaged in anal receptive intercourse. Yeah, the laboratory aspect of the case study is a scraping of Mr. B's lip lesion was examined under a dark field microscope. It revealed the presence of large numbers of corkscrew-shaped spirochetes, just like the electron photograph that we are seeing, though the electron will show it more, define it more, because it is at a higher magnification. The laboratory report positive serology, which indicated the presence of the characteristic antibody to syphilis. This finding confirmed the diagnosis of secondary syphilis. Mr. B was treated with a course of penicillin and his lesion and symptom abated. He was considered cured, even though his serology remained positive for several years. That's a very typical way of really treating it. But when you don't come for treatment or for test, then that may become the chronic aspect that affects, that could cause dementia, cause seizure, affect the heart, affect the eye, affect the brain, all the internal organs. Let's use this diagram here to explain what we have just seen, that the infection will start first within the 3 weeks after sexual intercourse, which is the incubation period. Then the primary problem will be seen as it shows a sore in the mouth and fever. Then it goes into the asymptomatic if it does not quickly extend to the secondary infection, where you have other characteristics, ailment that shows seriously. The latent asymptomatic period could take months or years, rather, up to even 30 years before it now shows the effect on almost every organ, really destroying. It could even cause blindness, affect the eyes, affect the brain, affect the nervous systems, causing serious brain damages that one could even talk of seizures, epileptics, and heart failures. There are so many complications of it. Laboratory diagnosis. The first will be to screen. This is usually done for pregnant women to check during the antenatal, what is at times called the touch. So the laboratory screening will be the non-treponema antibody, checking for it using probably the VDRL or RPR tests. Then the one that is more confirmatory or more or less specific, the antigen specific to T. pallidum fluorescein treponema antibody absorption test, will also be done. The microhemagglutinin, the TPPA. Then there is also treponema culture these days, tissue culture, because it's very difficult to really culture treponema pallidum, the causative organism of syphilis. But of recent, the breakthrough has been made, and that is also really very encouraging. By way of conclusion, syphilis should ordinarily not cause chronic problem, since it can easily be cured with penicillin. However, if left untreated, unlike the case study where it was easily treated and the person was cured, So if left untreated, it can affect the neurological system, the brain and spinal cord. It's called neurosyphilis. Neurosyphilis can occur at any stage. It's usually developed in people who have had untreated syphilis for many years. Blood donors are usually tested for syphilis, providing ample opportunity for them to check their status. And probably that explains why the syphilis problem is not a front burner problem, because one, it can easily be treated, and two, there is always the opportunity for this checking anytime there is a blood donation, or the mother is pregnant, and the maternal passing it on to the fetus is always a lot of concern. So the test is performed to prevent such happening. So without all these tests being done, probably syphilis would have been a serious epidemic. Well, it could have graduated more than that to how it was in the beginning, like a pandemic. Their status and commence treatment. Chronic syphilis is usually experienced by adults who had been in the latent phase for years. So it pays to test oneself to avoid problems like seizures, dementia, heart failure, brain damage, and so many other complications. If you like my presentation, you could watch more of my videos on this channel.